Hi everyone, welcome to Let's Do Bonsai. It's been a while since the last video. This is the mini greenhouse here that people have asked to look at, so here we are, we're inside. There's quite a few things growing in here, so we'll have a quick look and see what's going on. If I just grab you, we can see there's a whole lot of growth going on. The Delonix Regia, we had another shoot come up, and then we have another seedling breaking through. It doesn't look very happy down there, but the second one that surprisingly came up is doing very well. The blue jacaranda is continuing to do well. Let's have a look. The Easter cactus is doing well in there. The horse chestnuts are growing everywhere all over this little greenhouse, and the leaves are looking really magnificent. What else have we got? We've got some pines still doing really well. The avocado in there is doing really nicely. The Portulacaria afras that we rescued have come back absolutely brilliantly. The Judas tree there that's growing up. We have some succulents at the front that are just doing their thing. Some baby succulents. The Dawn redwoods from the bonsai zone that are hopefully going to germinate. If not, they'll go through the winter and hopefully come out. So yeah, there's an absolute host of growth going on. Also up here on the pre-bonsai shelf, we have some horse chestnuts still in the tray where they germinated from, and quite a lot of pre-bonsai Acer palmatums, lots and lots of things, some thuya, some willow, lots of things going on. I've got the two cotton Easters there ready to be put into action. We have an oak seedling. We have catalpas. We cut all these back and they're growing lovely on the top of the stems there. The figs are doing pretty well. The jades, some of them need attention, but the new leaves are coming nicely. We'll have a look on the lower shelf. You can see all the new little leaves coming through. Absolutely lovely on this jade. So we'll have to take the larger leaves off of this side and around so that the little leaves can look really well. And in this little forest that we've done, the little leaves are coming through, so we'll have to take all the big leaves off. The pre-bonsai larch forest is growing up and needs some attention and trimming back. We've got some large trees and some small trees that are starting to grow up, and this little stick was beginning to leaf out. Something's gone on and stripped the leaves off of what was going through there, so we'll have to probably protect that, because I was hoping to get that to grow and find out what it was. The ginkgo, pre-bonsai ginkgo, is really tall. It's about 5 foot tall. That's done really well so far, so hopefully that will carry on. Now, a lot of people have been asking me in comments and questions, what do I use for the soil mixtures, etc., and I keep trying to respond. I use Perlite and I use a clay particle material. Now, one of the particle materials that I did use, which I'll get out shortly, I found to go to quite a bit of a mush, and really you want that clay particle to keep its, you know, keep what it is, keep its build, its chemical compound. It needs to stay, and unfortunately this was going into a mush, so over a period of time it was just like clamping around the roots, and the roots weren't getting any oxygen. So I was learning that the hard way, but luckily I think I've got away with it, and we've bought some some more soils, some more particles, and we're going to put them to the test today. We're going to get some pots of water, put the particles in, let them sit for a bit, and we'll see what we get. So the first particles that we have are this Tigris multi-purpose, and the clue's in the title probably, soft grade clay absorbent capable of clearing up all spillages. So we'll just put some of that into a pot, and then if we get our next soil, so this is multi-sorb, and we'll give this a test. So the particles in this are really small, so when we filter this through, we're going to end up with a lot of really fine particles. But we'll put them into a container, and then our last soil is the unwanted multi-sorb. So what I'm going to do is fill that with water, and we'll allow it to sit, and then we'll check, you know, the compound and the structure of the particles, and we'll see exactly which ones maintain their structure. The ones that do are the ones that we want to be using. They'll absorb the water for the roots to take, but they'll maintain their integrity and their structure to so they won't just turn into mush and basically just surround and clamp around the roots and starve the roots of oxygen, which is what was happening with the Tigris. Very good at its job, obviously not meant to be used in this sort of way. So the question is will the multi-sorb do similar? They're both actually multi-sorb, so we'll see which one that we should be using going forward. So we'll put plenty of water into these, and you can hear it immediately start soaking up the water. And we'll allow it to soak up, and then we'll come back and we'll check on the integrity of the soil. Now, when I'm making up my soil, this is my soil box, which is rather empty at the moment. There's perlite in there, there's the clay particles in there, and there's some of the fibrous soil that was in there from a previous bit of something that we had. We mix, or we sieve out the smaller particles into here and transfer the bigger particles into the usable bin. I keep this and sometimes try and use it, but we can just chuck it away or put it into the garden or anything like that. This is the perlite that we use, and whilst we're waiting for the soil to soak up, we will just quickly mix a few bits of the perlite ready for the new soil that we're going to use. So we get our perlite. I tend to count the scoops because I'm going to match that with the scoops of soil, but this perlite is quite a better size than some of that soil, so it's going to have to be a best guess scenario, I would say, as to which way we go. But we'll get some perlite sieved through, and then we'll have some soil to work with on some bonsai trees going forward. Pete wants to steal the show once again, so we just sieve the perlite through, get rid of all the small particles. Try not to breathe the dust in if you can. And sieve all that through. And we'll continue that until we've got enough in the tote box to then put some more in of the soil on top. So I'll continue with that, and then we'll come back to look at the soil. Now, it's only been a short time. I've just managed to sieve up a bit of the perlite, but you'll see just by looking at it, it's all turned to a mush. So it goes in there really nice. There's all the little substratey bits, but as soon as you water that, it's like porridge. So that is just going to starve the roots of any type of oxygen that we can get through. So the last thing you want is that being used for your bonsai trees. And of course, if it dries, that's going to solidify and harden around your roots. So that's definitely a no-no. Where we've used it so far, we will have to repot those trees and move on and use hopefully one of the next ones. This is the multi-zorb, the first one of the multi-zorbs, and if we're coming from this side, this has maintained a lot of its integrity, but it's still quite mushy, but it does keep its bittiness quite a bit more. Once sieved out, I think that will do a lot better than the mushy, horrible substance that we were using there. Although, you know, it's still not fully ideal. So we'll just put that to one side, and we'll bring in the last one, and we'll just have a quick look at the substrate, how this has turned. And this is the same as the second one, really. It's maintained a lot of its particulation, and with the dust removed would probably be a lot better, although still probably not ideal. So I'm going to sieve these out so that I get all the big particles, but I think I'm going to lean towards trying to find something a little bit different to what we've got, because this isn't going to be great for our little trees, especially if you know, we'll have to see how it hardens if we leave it out in the sun to harden off. What I do have also, luckily, is a bag of akadama that I stashed, and what we'll do is we will put this bag in with our perlite, mix it in. So that's mixed in. There's some small traces of vermiculite in there There's all the perlite that's in there. We've got everything in there. So now the mixture is actually akadama and perlite as we go forward. It won't last an amazing amount of time, but it will be the akadama and the perlite that we're going to be using going forward, and we'll get the multi-sorbs sieved through, and where it holds its particles a lot better than the other product, it's not going to be submerged into water like we did there for the test, so the particulation will hold firm a lot more than what it did. But the first one that we tested is I found it to be abundantly clear that it was no good for being used in bonsais, because it actually just turned into an absolute slop, and that was just by adding the water to it. So that's the soil mixed up. We'll get tidied up, and then I think we'll have to get on with some more bonsai work. What I also have, which I bought for an emergency, is some Bonsai interior exterior 5 litre soil. Now I'm basically just going to put that, it's organic soil mixed in with small bits of perlite, I'm going to drop that into the this mixture. So that will give this mix a healthy mix of organic in with the akadama and the perlite. So we'll get that mixed in. So it's a total new mix now for me, this, but there's nothing in there that's going to cause any harm. There's nothing in there that's going to be any problem. It's all good. It's all sold and recommended for the purpose. So going forward, we should get some nice healthy roots and some nice healthy bonsai trees. So that was the soil mixture that we ended up using. We do have the 2 bags of the multi-sorb that we will sieve through, and it will work for us. But obviously the Tigris stuff, it's really not good at all. So on that note, I've been Scott Winard for Let's Do Bonsai, and we'll see you again very soon for some more bonsai work here at Let's Do Bonsai.